Hello, welcome to Raph's Tutorials, where I make daily motion graphics tutorials until I get hired at Vox. My name is Raphael, and this is what we're going to be making today. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's start by making a new composition, calling it screen recording. Let's keep it at 1920 by 1080, the settings that it already comes with the duration set to 30 seconds. Click create comp. Import your footage. This is a screen recording of me scrolling through Google News. The latest news so far, depending on when you're watching this video, has been on the coronavirus pandemic. So that's the context we're using this video in. Next, we're going to click on video layer and hit S, and that's going to bring up our scale. We're just going to want to scale that up just so you can see the main headlines in the center of the composition, and then we're going to hit P to bring up our position, and we're just going to adjust that slightly so that we have it in the center. After you do that, we're going to create an adjustment layer. Then we're going to go to our Effects and Presets tab and add the tint effect to our adjustment layer. Where it says Map Black 2, you can go ahead and choose a dark bluish color, and for Map White 2, you can choose a lighter blue. This tint is going to give us a rather cool image as far as temperature, and it kind of sells the computer look. We're going to want to keep some of that color, so drop the opacity to about 60 or 59%. Next, we're going to create a new black solid. Then we go back to the Effect and Presets tab and click Generate Grid and move that over to the solid layer. We're going to see that a grid was made over our video. Next, we're going to go to where it says Size From and change that to Width and Height sliders. We're going to change the color to black. For the width and height, just for this footage, we're going to change it to about 5. Change the border to 1 and the opacity to 15%. Now if we go back to the video that I made earlier and we zoom in, we see some magenta and cyan that is part of the pixel. So what we're going to do is duplicate it, and for the height, since we only really want this effect on the vertical axis, we're going to go ahead and raise the height as far as you can, and then we're going to stretch it out and move it up just above the anchor point. After you do that, you're going to want to go ahead and change the color to magenta, which is green 0, B255, and R255. After you do all that, you can drop this layer below the gray one and open up position by clicking P. You're just going to change the number by 1 pixel, so we're just going to change this number to 259, so it just moves slightly to the left. After you do that, the next part is super easy. All you're going to do is duplicate that layer, change the color to cyan, which is G255, B255, and R0. After you do that, you can go ahead and move the position by 1 pixel again by changing it to 258. So once you do all that, you're going to select all the layers and hit pre-compose and call it computer screen. Alright, so this looks pretty good. We have a nice computer screen effect, but it feels like it could be a little bit more dramatic, so what we're going to do is add a tilt shift effect to this for added effect. To start, we're going to create a blur map. A blur map is essentially a layer with a gradient that tells the blur effect what shape and look to take. To create a blur map, first create an adjustment layer and add a camera lens blur effect to it. Leave it alone until you've created the actual blur map. Next, create a white solid. And then pre-compose it and name it blur map. Click the rectangular tool or hit Q and make a mask horizontally across the center of the solid that hangs over the edges of the canvas. Then insert the mask so that the black color is in the middle and feather it about 220 pixels to start. Go back to your composition and click on your adjustment layer. Hide the blur map layer and go to the effect controls. Check the repeat edge pixels and set the blur radius to 30. Change the shape to your desired bokeh look and raise the diffraction fringe to 50 to start. Now set the blur map to your blur map layer. You will now see the blur map layer applied to your footage. So for our final effect, we're going to add a black vignette to it. Begin by creating a black solid and hit Alt-Q a few times until you get the ellipse icon. Create an ellipse large enough to fit the composition and click Invert. Feather it out to about 360 pixels and drop the opacity to about 45%. Once you do that, you're finished, and you create a professional LED computer screen effect that would look great for documentaries, news shows, or any other project. Hope you guys learned a lot from this tutorial, and don't forget to subscribe and like for more daily videos.